Let's get into some things, child. We got some stuff to talk about today, honey. We got some stuff to talk about. Hit that like button. If you are new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We have a great time over here. You meant what you said when you said it. Really be as bad, because I'll be understanding y'all sometimes. And when y'all know when I say y'all, you know I ain't talking about y'all. You know I'm talking about y'all. Convince me that all these people that got something to say have been actively involved in the political process in their world. I don't believe it. You ain't gonna convince me. I know y'all love me. What's up, y'all? Happy Friday. Happy Friday, everybody. Y'all come on in. Happy Friday. Listen. Happy Friday. So look, first of all, before we get started, this is a spoiler alert. We are going to be discussing the documentary and the true story of Unknown Caller. We are going to talk about who the person was. We're going to have a whole discussion. So if you have not seen it yet and you don't want to be spoiled, exit stage left now. Now is the time. I'm going to get you to the count of 10 because now is the time. Come back later. Put this in your bookmark it or whatever, and you just come back later. But we're going to talk about it, okay? So if you haven't seen it and you don't want to be spoiled, just go on. Now, this documentary's been out for about a week, so I feel comfortable, maybe even a little bit longer. So I feel comfortable discussing it. Y'all done had time. I didn't mean to put this on my community wall because I watched it the other night. I finally sat down and watched it Wednesday night. Yeah, Wednesday night. And I got done. If I hadn't gotten done watching it so late, I would have gone live Wednesday night. Because I knew who the person was. And I was still stuck when I got to the end of this thing. Okay? Okay? Hey, everybody coming in. Come on in. Hey, Don. I ordered my oil today. I got 3 bottles. I got the truffle oil, the garlic infused oil, and then the regular. So I'll let you know when I get it. So I don't know how many more bottles you need to sell to release that shipment. How many more bottles? Tell me. So we can try to get you. Cajun. Stop it before you're going to be putting time out. Now stop it. I really only meant to buy the 2 bottles, but then I realized I didn't buy because I wanted to try the truffle and the garlic, and I had bought the garlic and the regular, and I was like, oh, I still want to try that truffle, so I went back and got the truffle. But yeah. But I think altogether he has 5. You have a lemon. I'm not a big lemon person. You have a lemon one, a pepper one, garlic, truffle, and then regular. I think he's got 5 altogether. And the prices are decent. I think the most expensive one is the pepper one, maybe? I'm not sure. But the cheapest one is like $16.99. You go to the grocery store and you're going to pay $14, $15. You know what I'm saying? For some olive oil. So, you know. Okay, 18 more. All right, y'all. So put the link in the chat, Don. If you guys are interested in getting you some olive oil, like I said, he has 5 different blends. Y'all want to support an entrepreneur, a YouTuber, my mod over here, my friend. Y'all go over there and get you a bottle, okay? Please and thank you. All right. So there's a documentary over to the Netflix that is based on a true story, and it's called Unknown Caller. It is who was cyber stalking this little girl. And I say little girl, she was a high school student. I think she was like a 9th grader at the time. Now, Tracy hit me up and said, there's the link right there, y'all. Y'all going to get you some. So Tracy said, I'm about to send you this article. And the article is even better than the documentary. So I'm going to read the article. So if you haven't seen the documentary, we're going to read through this article together, and then we're going to discuss it. And I do have a goal set. If we hit the goal, I will drop the link if anybody want to come up and add their 2 cents to it. Okay. There it is right there, Chuck. He reposted it. There it is right there. Cajun, did anybody ever tell you can get more bees with honey than with vinegar? It's not very nice, Cajun. Yeah. So I have not read the article. So you guys, y'all know I like to read it in real time so you guys can get my raw reaction. But I will say this before I even read through this article, I didn't, when I got to the ending, I wasn't buying none of that bullshit. And let me tell you why. If it were a simple situation where the stalker was just addressing the daughter, that'd be one thing. But the stalker had a whole lot of shit going on. Lying to the line. It was a lot more to it. So we can read this article and then we'll discuss. I'm gonna go over my notes from the documentary. And like I said, y'all feel free to add y'all 2 cents in the chat. You said they talked about it on The View today. Child, it's a mess. Now, I will say, I hope the article clears some stuff up with me because I do have a few questions that I hope the article will clear up. I'm going to wait until I read the article to tell y'all what my questions are and see if the article cleared it up or not. All right, so let's really get into it. I ain't worried about Cajun either. I'm sorry, y'all got something stuck in my tooth. I need to get a toothpick. All right, let me share the article. Oh Lord, I keep forgetting that this. Oh, okay. You know I watch The View every day. Usually on the weekend is when I catch up. So I'll catch that episode this weekend. Hold on, y'all. Let me go get a toothpick. Y'all know how it just irritates you, child. Hold on, give me a second. Let me go get a toothpick and then we're gonna get started. Okay. Sorry about that. All right, let's go. So let's get into this article. So this is from The Cut via the New Yorker. As you can see here, these are some of the texts that were sent. Can y'all see that on the screen? I'm going to read you guys a few of the text messages that were sent to this little girl. And again, I keep saying little girl. She was like a 9th grader, maybe 10th grader. I think it started when she was in the 9th grade, but it lasted for almost 2 years. So these are the some of the text messages. You jealous bitch. He ain't taking your sorry ass. He's not talking to your sorry ass. He's talking to us. How it feel to lose. He never talks to you again. He wants you to fucking stop. You worthless hoe. Effing trash. F you, we won. Friday will be epic when it's announced. The look on your faces watching one of you with your arm. See, this damn texting. With your arm around another person, holding hands and being all adorable, smiling, flirting, and posing. Could this be the end? The AKA golden couple with the relationship everyone idolizes? We promise we will break you up. You know he's cheating. So these are examples of the text messages that were being sent. Now, according to the documentary, at the height of this situation, she was in middle school when it started. Oh, I thought she was in high school when it started. Wow. Oh, I thought I was sharing. My bad, y'all. I'm not sharing the article. Hold on. My bad. I thought I was sharing the article. My bad. Share screen. Okay, there we go. My bad, y'all. I thought I was sharing the screen. Tracy said, I don't see nothing. Okay, so to give you guys a little bit of a background, it was the young lady. Tracy said it started when she was in middle school. It was a young lady who, and I might have a controversial opinion about something, but I got to read this article first. Who you need to start a tab at the bar. You better get it. It's Friday. You better start that tab. Make sure you call an Uber to get home. Drink responsibly. So she starts getting, so her and her boyfriend at the time, they were like been together since like middle school. This is this small town. Like, this is how small the town is where they live. There's literally only one school that goes from pre-K all the way to 12th grade. And the class size, not the grade levels, are like 30 kids to a grade level. So they all know each other. They're all around each other all the time from pre-K all the way through high school. They play sports together and all of that. So this young girl, Kendra, and her little boyfriend, they were like the little, like they said, the golden couple. You know, everybody thought they were the cute couple, you know, been together, yada, yada, yada. So she starts getting these text messages. And at the height of, and this went on for almost 2 years, at the height of the text messages, they were getting like 50 text messages a day. And that is, I didn't even tell y'all the worst ones. Those are just some of the examples. So let's read through this article. This article is dated January the 15th of 2025. So this article came out before the documentary. And you know, this is going to have more details. So let's read through this article. It says, who was cyberbullying Kendra Lacar? Oh, no, I'm sorry. Kendra's not the girl's name. Kendra is the mama. Who was cyberbullying Kendra Lacari's teen daughter? Parents and school officials were stopped. The culprit was under their noses all along. So it says, one afternoon in January of 2022, the parents of 2 freshmen at Beale City High School in Central Michigan gathered in the principal's office. They were there to discuss the text, vicious, anonymous messages flooding the phones of their children, Ashley Lacari and Owen McKinney. Okay, so Ashley and Owen are the kids' names. Sometimes 30 a day. The messages would arrive at any hour and no one knew who was sending them. Although they were sent to both Ashley and Owen, they mostly targeted Ashley. The cyberbully seemed to know exactly how to pick at her insecurities. The text mocked her thin frame, calling her an anorexic toddler and with a little tyke's body, and slammed her ability on the basketball court. Ashley and Owen dated in middle school, but had broken up in the fall of freshman year. And the bully told Ashley that Owen was now trashing her behind her back and flirting with other girls. The bully described in detail the sexual moves they would do with him. One message included a homecoming photo of Ashley with a vomiting emoji posted over her face and the words skank and hoe plastered in red on her body in a group thread. The texter asked Owen to help take Ashley down and told her that Owen had said his life would be better if you were no longer alive, and no one would care if you were gone. So let me pause for a second. Y'all know when I'm reading, I can't see the chat. Hey, Papo. Okay. At the meeting, Ashley's mother, Kendra, couldn't stop crying. The superintendent and the sheriff were there too, but Owen's mother, Jill McKinney, did much of the talking. She hoisted hundreds of pages of text transcripts from the Staples box and passed them around. The sheriff thumbed through the pages. Ashley sometimes texted back feisty, but at other points she would plead, I honestly can't take anymore and will do anything you want if you will just stop. Please stop. The texters seemed to know a lot about what Ashley and Owen were doing at school. They knew what shirt Ashley was wearing on any given day and how many basketball points she had scored. Laughing my ass off. 2 points, you suck. The bully knew Owen had removed the phone case Ashley had given him as a gift, and they tracked his whereabouts in class. Owen sitting by me in history. Sorry, not sorry. We fucking taking you down, bitch. They constantly changed numbers using burner apps, but Kendra and Jill had honed in on a possible suspect, Chloe Wilson, a popular freshman athlete who who had played sports with Ashley since grade school. The previous night, a potential slip-up, the bully gloated in a text about scoring 12 points in the basketball game. At the sheriff's urging, Kendra, who often ran varsity scoreboard, left the room to fetch the prior night's record. Only Chloe had scored 12 points. At a preliminary meeting with the sheriff's department many weeks prior, a detective had asked Jill if she feared that her son's mental state was bad enough that he might harm himself. She had watched Owen withering, talking back at home, looking miserable, pulling from a reserve of anger on the basketball court that she didn't recognize. But harm himself? Thankfully not. And what about Ashley? Kendra didn't speak. Jill recalls answering for her. The answer is yes. Kendra, we are afraid Ashley could hurt herself. Back in the principal's office, the sheriff said he'd start investigating, and the parents left the campus with renewed hope. Tracy said they changed her name in the article. They said at the end, I think. Oh, okay. Now who was Ashley? Okay. Remember, y'all, this came out before the documentary came out, so they probably changed her name because she's a minor. And maybe at the time she hadn't agreed, to have her name and stuff out there. So, Beale City, a farming community with 2 pubs and 1 flashy intersection, seemed like the last place on earth anyone could hide. The landscape is open and flat, broken into well-tended fields and dairies. Wind turbines churning overhead. Many of its families boost roots that stretch back generations. It's a place where, as one local said, you want to be perceived as a good person. When a parent is diagnosed with cancer, you start a meal train and sell t-shirts that say nobody fights alone. You volunteer to ladle cheese onto nachos at the stadium concessions to help the sports boosters and send your kids to practice with extra cleats for the boy who needs some. The heart of the town is so praised public school, a single brown big complex that has K through 12 with just 50 students per grade, a foyer decked in sports championship trophies, and a mural chirping character counts. The parents want the cyberbully to be outed and expelled. Most important, they want their happy, carefree children back. No one could have imagined that the hunt would stretch on for 8 more exasperating months, or that the January afternoon at Beale City High, the bully had begun sitting in the room. Y'all see that picture? That's the picture that they were talking about right there. Child, they said the bully was sitting in the room. All right. In the fall of 7th grade, Owen sent Ashley an Instagram DM. He had gotten his first cell phone only that year, and one of the last kids in his grade without one. We're those parents, his mother said. Ashley, a softball and basketball player in his class, was delicately slim, tomboyish in hoodies and jerseys. Her blonde hair sometimes braided with an arch over her crown. What? Who wrote this? An arch over her crown. Child, who wrote that? An arch over her crown. Baby, that's not Bridgerton. Anyway, she stood out, Owen remembered. Pretty, athletic, super kind. With classic 7th grade diplomacy, Owen and his friends tell Ashley that he liked her. After she came to his football game, I texted her literally that day. I'm like, so are we dating? Owen says. She's like, I don't know. Do you want to be? And I'm like, sure. Yeah, that sounds like some 7th graders talking, child. Owen's parents, Dave and Jill McKinney, had also started dating in 7th grade. Dave had been a star outfielder at Beale City High. The fact that matters in a town that revolves around the school and its state title clinching Aggies. Jill had been a Beale cheerleader. The McKinneys were an established family in the area. While he coached kids baseball and worked as an IT manager at a farm lender, she was a super volunteer. Not a super volunteer. You're a super volunteer at the Catholic elementary school. Kendra, on the other hand, grew up about a 2 hour drive away in the exurbs. I think that's supposed to be suburbs of Detroit. What are exurbs? What does that mean? EXURBS. Is that like some new term they're using? What is it? What does that mean? Let me read what exurb means. I never heard of that before. I never heard of an exurb. EXURB. What is that? I know what suburbs are. Are they trying to say X suburbs? I don't know. EXURBS. Define. A district outside a city, especially a prosperous area beyond the suburbs. Oh, so they saying she grew up rich. Okay. All right. She grew up a little richer. Okay, a little richer. So she's not in the she didn't grow up in the suburbs. She grew up beyond the suburbs in an area that's a little richer. Okay, I got it. See, I learned something today. I got it. Okay. Okay. While studying at Central Michigan University, she met Sean Licari, a Beale City High alum, and eventually moved into his simple one-story house. Ashley, their only child, was born in 2007. Locals concede that Beale City can be a tough place for transplants, that anyone who didn't go to the school or doesn't have one of the known last names will always be considered from not around here. And though Sean was from Beale, he hadn't been part of the in crowd. A friend of the family says, so I think it was probably important for Kendra to make sure that Ashley was. The Licaris declined many interview requests. Ashley, a minor and a crime victim who didn't participate in the article, has been given a pseudonym. See, it says it in the article right there, y'all. A former high school basketball player, Kendra coached her daughter travel softball team in elementary school and later middle school hopes. She splurged to join on the spring break caravan of Beale families that flocked south to rent condos on the Florida or Alabama coast. While Ashley was on the quieter side, her friends knew Kendra as the outgoing cool mom. At school events, she would approach a gaggle of students to gossip. Through softball, Ashley had befriended Paige, Natalie, and Cliff, fraternal twins 3 years older from a longtime Beale City family, and they'd filmed Kendra crossing her eyes, dancing to Sir Mix-a-Lot, cartwheeling down a hotel hallway on tournament weekends. To onlookers, it was clear that Ashley and Kendra were at the center of each other's lives. But by junior high, people observed that Kendra would brag about her daughter to the point of annoying the parents. Everything was Ashley softball, Ashley school, Ashley this, Ashley that, says anyone. After Ashley started dating Owen, her mother came along too. At every opportunity, Kendra would ask them to wrap their arms around each other for a photo, which Ashley would turn into presents for Owen, like a personalized phone case. When they hung out at the Licaris, Kendra would chime in, why don't you jump on a trampoline? Take a spin in Ashley's Ranger utility vehicle. Kendra talked about the kids, Jill says, like they were going to be together forever. Once, Paige Cliff saw Kendra take Ashley's phone and read her daughter's text with Owen. Then as Ashley typed out a reply and said, I love you. Ciao. When COVID sent students home in the summer of 7th grade, the Licaris joined the McKinney's pandemic bubble for dinners and bonfires. Owen was a talented Little League pitcher, and over the summer, the families traveled as a group on their children's tournament weekends and camped together. In 8th grade, Kendra signed up to coach Owen's track team, becoming, he says, like a second mom. A regular spectator at Owen's matches, she drove Ashley 3 hours across Michigan to watch one of his championship games. Once, Kendra even suggested turning Owen's tournament in Florida into a Licari family vacation, to which Jill had to gently say no. Even so, the McKinneys didn't feel anything was amiss. The family's whole life was just watching Ashley play sports, Jill says, and Owen seemed an extension of that. Dave saw Kendra's intentions as harmlessly basic. She wanted to belong. Let me see the chat. Let me check the chat. The mama was on The View? Who was on The View, Chuck? Because, baby, if the mama's on The View, we're going to watch that too. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to find that. Okay, the stalker wasn't there. Okay, I was about to say. Okay. A few weeks after they started dating, the first anonymous text hit Owen and Ashley's phones. The jeering messages said that Ashley wasn't invited to the annual Halloween party thrown by Chloe Wilson's mother, Tammy, a Bill City headliner event complete with an elaborate haunted trail through her acreage. Owen showed the text to his parents, who shrugged them off. It must be some kid who just wants them to break up. For a year, the texter remained silent. Then, in the fall of 2020, when they were in 8th grade, Owen and Ashley got more messages. Okay, so yeah, I did think, excuse me, I did think that from the documentary, I did think that they had been together longer before the text messages started. So that's the first thing that is hitting me, that I thought they were a couple longer than what it seems like in real time. Okay. I did that by accident, DB, my bad. It was obvious he wants me. His attention is constantly on me. This is one of the text messages. Okay. It's obvious he wants me. His attention is constantly on me. Not sure what he told you, but he's coming to the Halloween party and we are both DTF, which I guess is down to fuck. He wants nothing to do with you. He thinks you're annoying and an ugly ass bitch and wishes you would leave them the fuck alone. Why you think he is on his phone all the time texting me? You don't get invited to sleep with him. I did. I'm spending the night with him. I'm sharing a bed with him, not you. The text continued sporadically through the end of that year. Jill showed them to the school officials, who said to block the number. Tammy Wilson caught wind of the incident and called Kendra to assure her that Ashley was certainly invited to the party. Sometimes Ashley would fight back. I don't care that what you and Owen and I are solid. I don't care what you say. Owen and I are solid and you're not going to break us up. Other times she'd take the bait and she'd text Owen. Was he hanging out with other girls? Did he want to break up? Owen would text or FaceTime back, smoothing things over. By the start of high school, Owen had begun to pull away from his girlfriend. The text made up 75% of the reason he calculates it's just hard to be with someone after all of that, he says. At a volleyball match in August and their freshman year, Owen and Ashley sat apart from each other. That's when Ashley started getting texts from her mother across the gym. And these are the texts that her mother sent her. Sit next to him. Answer me. Come here now. I'm pissed. Move your ass now. Now. I'm funny, pissed off. This is fucking ridiculous. Answer me and move your ass. Child. Okay. They ain't put that in the documentary now. They ain't put that part in there. Okay. Meanwhile, the anonymous bully was picking up the tempo. Some of the texts seemed to build Ashley and Owen up while also tearing them down. In September, in the lead up to homecoming dance, the bully claimed that only one of them would be voted onto homecoming court. Could this be the end of the AKA golden couple, with the relationship everyone idolizes on another day? You're the definition of a perfect couple and will be the forever couple that gets married. Some of us don't want to hear it anymore. Child, let me put my other glasses on. I think I keep fucking up because these words are too small. Hold on. Child, let me put my other glasses on. Owen and Ashley went to the homecoming dance together, but in early November, he called Ashley and asked her to break up. He said he was sick of fighting and the texting had driven down trust. Ashley, he remembered asking whether they could just take a break. Both cried. To Owen, breaking up was also tactical. He hoped it would satisfy the harasser and that they would be left alone. They kept the breakup quiet at school, but in the days after, the cyberbully started declaring victory. Okay, so can I pause right there? That don't make no sense. If part of the reason why y'all broke up was to stop the bully, the cyberbullying, then wouldn't it make sense to let the whole world know that y'all broke up? Like, that makes no sense that we're going to break up so that the cyberbully will leave us alone we'll make them think that they won. Oh, but wait a minute, we ain't gonna tell nobody that we broke up. That's just stupid. That should have been their first clue right there. Because if you didn't tell anybody, who knew that y'all broke up? You could have started from that. But that's my point. So when the people who knew, let me finish reading the article. See, I said I was gonna wait because maybe it's in the article. But I'm just saying, if that to me should have been your first clue, like, well, who knew? They are kids, to be fair. Well, their parents, to me, weren't much better. They didn't want to change the phone number because they were like, why should we change our phone number? And anyway, let me finish reading the article because what was in the documentary or what's in this article, it might be more detailed. So let me do that. He was trying to see if it was her and her people. I followed this when it broke back in 23 or 24. Okay. So you have a little more detail than I have. Okay. Thank you. Okay. They kept the breakup quiet at school, but in the days after, the cyber bully started declaring victory. He already chose us, not you. He won't be with us this weekend, so don't even ask. He won't be with you this weekend, so don't even ask. Lord, it wasn't the glasses, it's just me. Maybe you shouldn't have picked cross country over him. You proved he isn't important to you. We were there, though. You don't get with him in bed. You don't sneak out with him. You fucking dress awful. Ain't no guy want that. In the weeks that followed, the cyberbully betrayed an uncanny knowledge or mundane goings on at school. One morning before a Friday night football game, they called out Ashley for showing up to class wearing Owen's jersey. At 11:44 a.m., she got a text. What the fuck? You need to take that shit off. You are embarrassing him. When girls' basketball season geared up later that November, 3 freshmen moved up to varsity, but Ashley stayed on JV. A senior overheard Kendra saying to students in the hallway that the only reason those girls made varsity was because their parents were friends with the coach. But the bully rubbed it in. You suck at basketball. He ain't dating no suck ass anorexic, not good for nothing JV girl. God damn. At school, paranoia set in over Ashley. She thought it was one person the whole entire time. Owen says Chloe Wilson was in many ways Ashley's opposite, muscular with long dark hair and natural confidence, whether on the volleyball court or in garage ping pong match. She was one of the freshmen who had moved up to varsity basketball, and the notion that Chloe could be a romantic thread wasn't far-fetched either. Both she and Owen said they did have off and on again crushes on each other the school year at lunch that school year. At lunch that fall, Ashley would sit in the same table as Chloe and her friends, a group of popular athletic girls, but Ashley grew afraid. Jill says that some of these girls were the ones tormenting her. The text often invoked a we all hate you. The girls didn't much want to talk to Ashley either, let alone text her for fear of getting pulled into the drama. Owen, too, grew vigilant about who might be listening to him, terrified his words would be recycled into taunts, which often claimed to know his thoughts. He didn't want his classmates to see how much the cyberbullying bothered him, but when they called him names like pussy bitch, that's not funny. That is not funny. But when they called him names like pussy bitch, Jill sensed the fact that the bully seemed female deep. The bully seemed female deep in the shame. He'd always been happy-go-lucky, but now he pled some days to stay home from school. I'm surprised that neither one of them dropped out of school, if I'm being honest with you. I'd have been stopped going to school with that bullshit. On November the 30th of 2021, Jill saw the news about a 15-year-old near Detroit who had bought a semi-automatic, blah, 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 to school and blah, blah, blah for classmates. She found herself thinking of Owen and Ashley pushed to their limits. When Jill told Kendra she was going to meet with a sheriff's detective about the bullying, she recalled that Kendra didn't hesitate, saying, I'll meet you there. From certain angles, Kendra resembled a modern day supermom, a had it together, know what she was doing kind of person. As a local parent puts it, Kendra was the breadwinner, working as a bank branch supervisor and eventually in human resource at Central Michigan University, while Sean changed oil at a local auto body shop. Sean was a devoted father who took Ashley hunting, cheered her on at games, and coached her teams, but Kendra was the one who kept the family's life ticking, overseeing everything from Ashley's schedule to the family's finances. His co-workers at the auto body shop would joke that Kendra being his sugar mama. We would say Sean couldn't dress himself without her, says one. It didn't seem like anything malicious, but he just let her do it all. In spring of 2019, when Ashley was in sixth grade, Kendra got a new job at Fair State University, a 40-minute drive away. The role was in the IT service desk as a specialist in cell phones. And she told her family that it came with a huge salary bump. A few months into the job during the fall that Ashley and Owen started dating, the family upgraded to a 4-bedroom rustic chic log cabin in the woods, which Sean called his dream home. Among themselves, locals started to speculate something was off. Over the following years, oddities stacked up. At the auto shop, Sean would unquestioningly pass along tidbits from Kendra, say that the family had missed house payments because someone in New Mexico had stolen it. That's not funny, y'all. That's not funny. Because someone in New Mexico has stolen their identity. Or that his pickup truck had been repossessed because of a scammer and Signal. After Kendra's check bounced for her portion of a spring break condo, she explained that she had gotten hacked. When the parents met with the sheriff in January of 2022, the McKinneys were struck by how little Sean seemed to know about the cyberbullying. His wife, on the other hand, had taken up the issue with zeal. That winter, still coaching 8th grade basketball, Kendra would drudge up to the high school coaches to talk about their text, warning that the bullying could throw off Ashley's focus on the court. The coaches would commiserate and suggest solutions. Could the Lacaris change her number? Hold on to her phone? But Kendra never seemed to take their advice. Instead, she would come back the next day drained to discuss it again. She sought support from anyone who would listen. Another mother running the scoreboard at the basketball game, parents who barely knew her. She would even text the Antcliffe twins, asking them to leave class to comfort Ashley when she was crying in the bathroom. Child. I'm just reading some of these comments. All right. Students would sometimes see Kendra parked in the school bus lot in the middle of the day. She told people she worked for Fair State from home and often showed up wearing the university's gear. In the hallways, one day, Kendra told Owen's younger sister, Macy, that the bully had insulted Ashley's shirt, so she was bringing a change of clothes. Another time, Kendra saw Natalie in the parking lot and confided that it had taken hours for Ashley to get dressed that morning, that she was anxious about her performance at games because she expected it to become fodder for the bullying. Natalie gave Kendra a hug, assuring her that the culprit would eventually be caught. Yeah. After their children broke up, Dave McKinney had sent Kendra a long conciliatory message. I don't think this means we can still get together. As it happened, the escalating text gave them an urgent reason to keep talking. At Owen's basketball games, Kendra still sat by Jill, sometimes prodding her reluctant daughter to show Jill the latest text. On nights when the taunts were particularly vicious, Jill texted Kendra to check on Ashley in her bedroom. Other nights, the two mothers called each other, strategizing about their sleuthing. Jill says Kendra was still upset about the breakup. Kendra would ask if Jill thought their children would get back together if the breakup was just because of the bully. On their calls, Kendra and Jill would circle the possibility that Chloe was behind the text. Jill found the case persuasive. Several anonymous complaints against Chloe had trickled onto OK to Say, the state's tip line for potential threats to students. One in middle school while yelling at a teammate on the court, another that year about Owen helping her during a test in computer class. Chloe often said, bruh. So did the texter. Chloe's father was a police sergeant. The texter mentioned that they had cops to defend him. Kendra once complained that Ashley's Snapchat was hacked and that when she had contacted the social network, Kendra claimed it told her the login came from Broomfield Township where the Wilsons lived. One weekend, the text came from a 906 area code, Michigan's Upper Peninsula, where Chloe was snowmobiling with her family. Every night, Owen handled his cell phone to his parents, and Jill and Dave would lie in bed, reading the latest messages, analyzing the language and references. Jill would call the numbers, cueing an automated response from the burner apps, or she sometimes pecked out a reply as Owen, kind of pathetic. You keep hiding behind fake numbers and repeating over and over again. If it looks neat and very Englishy, Owen later said of the text log, it was not me. Right. If it was proper grammar, it wasn't me. Once while going through his phone, Jill texted Chloe pretending to be her son to test Chloe's reaction. If this is you, be honest, Chloe FaceTimed Owen angrily. Owen, trying to navigate the mess without losing friends, iced out his mother for days. Ashley, for her part, would sometimes confront Chloe by text, asking her to air any issues to her face, but still sat awkwardly with them at lunch and fell so silent. A ghost friend, one classmate tells me, that the main time they heard her talk was when she whispered a timid "here" during roll call. Ashley would complain to her father that because of the text, she didn't have any friends anymore. Still, she had one unwavering defender in class. Ashley would often be texted. She told people she was writing her mother. At basketball tournaments, she sat by Kendra. As principal at Bill, Dan Boyer prided himself on running a tight ship. I'm pretty good at figuring things out, he said. When Kendra and Jill first met with them and the superintendent in December 2021, he started by poring over the text. Earlier ones, more complete sentences with proper capitalization. You don't get invited to sleep with him. I did. Not how kids text. Later ones got looser, using phrases like bruh, sorry, not sorry, what the F, and RN. Boyer started showing the messages to teachers who read student writing, and coaches who text with them. For days, Boyer had Ashley text him whenever she got a message in class. Boyer quickly texted the teachers to scan for students on their phones. Nothing conclusive. By early January, Kendra went to Boyer and numbered list of the investigative steps she understood he had taken and asked him to detail any others. The McKinneys and Lacarises wanted to address the girls' basketball team. Chloe and other suspects were on it, and their parents directly, but Boyer refused. He did not want a scene of emotional parents accusing children. He did, however, humor the mother's request for a sting operation after Kendra complained that Ashley's necklace and jersey had gone missing. Odd. Boyer says in a school where it's like 1960s America, kids don't lock don't lock their lockers. During basketball practice, Ashley's shoes were placed in Bill's sports foyer under surveillance cameras, and Boyer emailed Kendra like a cop on a stakeout. We are all set to track the shoes. The shoes sat untouched for hours until a custodian put them in the lost and found. Still, in reviewing footage from the gymnasium, one thing did grab Boyer's attention. During practice, Coach Kendra was often head down on her phone. She usually carried two. One she said was for work, and one was personal. Again and again, a tug of war ensued between the school and the parents about what power they had over the children's phones. Each teacher set their own policy, and students were always sneaking peeks in class. The McKinneys planned for a new policy that phones stay in lockers, so Owen and Ashley could focus. The school pushed back. Parents wouldn't tolerate it. They wanted a direct line to their children for emergencies. Boyer insisted, asked the parents to change their children's numbers. But Jill argued that as soon as Owen's new number appeared in a group text, the cyberbully would see it, which is true. I guess that's valid. Owen's new number appeared in a group text. Oh, I just said that. Other parents wondered, why not just take the phone away? Well, but that was how Owen stayed in touch with coaches and travel league teammates at other schools, how he assessed assignments in Google Classroom, his lifeline to being a normal teen. They didn't even know how to function without it for an hour, Jill said. Each experiment failed to bring a lead to the school, so the school brought in the sheriff, Michael Maine. Let me see what y'all saying in the chat before I go back to the article. Okay, El Michelle. I hope Really Be reviews the Beauty and Beast because I watched the first 20 minutes and it was already a mess. What Beauty? What you talking about, Beauty and Beast? I don't know what that is. The Beauty and the Beauty and Bester. I don't know what that is. But what's that about? The Beauty and Bester. What's that? I don't even know what's that about. All right. Let me keep reading. I ain't read this article long. Hold on, let me see how much longer this article is. Good Lord. We ain't even got to the good stuff yet. The FBI ain't even get called in yet. We just getting to the sheriff. Lord have mercy. We got a long way to go. Jeez, Ninny. All right, let's get through it. Because for the people who did anyway. Okay. Good Lord. Okay. Craig Wilson, a police sergeant, wasn't particularly intimidated when Sheriff Maine called him in January of 2022 to explain that his daughter, Chloe, was a suspect. I said, if Chloe's doing this, we severely missed something as parents. Really, when did his daughter have time to be a prolific harasser, going from class to sports to homework to bed? What was in it for her? When Craig and his wife Tammy confronted Chloe, she was tearful, insisting that she had done nothing wrong. Owen and Ashley had already been questioning her, and Chloe had grown sick of it. And she once gave Owen her phone the entire day so he could see she wasn't sending the text. Now Chloe handled her phone to her father, who had cop colleagues download its contents. It came up clean. In a meeting, the sheriff showed the Wilsons pages of messages from the bully that Kendra had sent to them. Some texts included a screenshot of Snapchat DM exchanges with someone named Chloe. Chloe said she had never sent those. Someone had created a ghost Snapchat account to impersonate her. She showed her father how easy it was to do. Chloe recognized other words as hers, though, portions of her chats with Owen, which she had screen recorded and sent to Ashley to prove they weren't flirting. Screenshotted bits of those exchanges were now confusingly also part of the bully's messages. Craig wasn't officially on the case as a cop. Sheriff Maine was handling it, but he wanted the truth fast. He and Tammy had a hunch. Added up that weird texting in middle school about how Ashley wasn't invited to their Halloween party, Kendra's resentment of Chloe's moving to varsity, a trivial incident at a basketball tournament years earlier where Tammy and another mother had searched for a sticky mat for what felt like an eternity, while Kendra stayed mum, only revealing she had stowed it in the equipment room after parents threatened to look at a surveillance tape. In early February, Craig texted the sheriff, honestly, Mike, I don't know if you know Kendra or not, but you really need to be cautious. There's a pretty good part of me that thinks she may very well be doing this. Instead, as winter turned into spring, the sheriff dragged teen high schoolers whose names had come up in an investigation or in the text onto school offices for questioning one by one. Some were Chloe's friends. Thanks a lot, Mom, Owen sarcastically texted Jill. The bully had even started texting girls Owen was talking to at other schools. One night, Owen yelled at Jill that it was her job as his mother to make the bullying stop. Jill cried in frustration. Everyone was reaching their breaking point. As softball started in the spring, the Anticliff twins would see Ashley crying on the bus to games. Kendra would sometimes send them screenshots of the bully's text, like one that said, "All our lives will be better if you're not here." I'm going to read that again. All our lives will be better if you're not here, if you were not here. Natalie worried every time Kendra would text her or call her, it would be the text or the call saying that Ashley had tried to hurt herself. How much can a little girl take? Natalie thought it was Chloe. Everyone thought that. She says, but she also thought it was crazy for any teen to keep a secret this long, which is true. I mean, don't get me wrong. I could see why they might have thought it was Chloe, because to hear them tell the story, Chloe was a mean girl. Even Owen said on the documentary that Chloe's not a nice person. And he did say that. He said Chloe's not a nice person. But kids just don't keep them kind of secrets like that. Somebody, she'd have told somebody, or somebody would say something. Meanwhile, Chloe felt herself wilting under the suspicion. This isn't trying to sound cocky, she says, but before the accusations, I just felt like a lot of people liked me. The children she coached at volleyball camp, upperclassmen on her teams, coaches. Chloe tried to keep a confident front at school, but when she got home, she closed the door to her room and cried. Tammy and Craig Wilson weren't alone in doubting Kendra. Little by little, people around town had started whispering about her, about the attention she seemed to constantly seek. Another parent flipping through the pages of text with the Wilsons concluded, "This is an adult." I wouldn't put it past Kendra. Bill's secretary, Diane Fussman, told Principal Boyer she suspected her, which Boyer found implausible. I always thought she was a little obsessive with her child. My gut told me this just isn't one of our kids. Sheriff Maine ran the theory by Jill and Dave McKinney. Could it be Kendra? Absolutely not, Jill said. Another mother in town recalls the same thought flickering through her mind and then scolded herself. How dare you think a mother would ever do that? Yeah, I mean, because a regular, normal person wouldn't. I'm just reading through the chat, y'all. All right. Officer Brad Peter works for the Mid-Michigan Computer Crimes Task Force, a partnership between the FBI and local law enforcement. His police badge is from Bay City, an hour to Bill City's east, but the FBI has deputized him to investigate digital crimes. When Sheriff May asked him for help in April of 2022, he knew he'd need to move fast. The burner apps held on to new subscriber records for about 2 weeks. So Peter asked Jill to send him the texter's latest phone numbers daily. Peter also emailed Kendra about the case. Sheriff Maine had relayed people's suspicion of her, but Peter says they both found that notion far-fetched. After 2 days of silence, Peter called her and proceeded to have what appeared to be an utterly normal conversation with a worried mother, talking about the toll on Ashley and musing about suspects. In mid-April, Jill sent Peter 4 new numbers, one used on Easter Sunday at 6:28 p.m. The Pinger app replied to Peter's search warrant on numbers connected to the Verizon network IP address out of Ann Arbor and Detroit areas, and another to a server for the Beale schools. The school had boosted its Wi-Fi to parking lots since COVID when some students studied in their cars. Peter emailed the school's IT director. I know that it's someone from the school doing this. I just can't figure out who. Bill's server logs didn't go back that far. Dead end. Gradually, Jill started to pick up on strange signals from Kendra. Months after the breakup, Kendra kept prying into Owen's love interest, asking if he was dating Chloe. Annoyed, Jill firmly told her that they'd talk only about the bully going forward. In early May, long after basketball season was over, Dave spotted Kendra's gray Explorer parked near the Catholic church, half a block from the school. Inside, Kendra was looking down at her lap. She glanced up at Dave and waved. Later that day, unprompted, Kendra brought it up to Jill on the phone. Oh, I'm sure Dave thought it was funny seeing me in the parking lot. She remembers Kendra saying, I drove to Bill to get gas and got coffee, and I spilled it all over me, so I pulled over to wipe it off. Jill sniffed a lie, but why? Meanwhile, the bully was scraping bottom with nowhere worse to go. Back in November, the bully told Ashley that Owen said his life would be better if you were no longer here. Then a half an hour later, they took it back. Sorry, I shouldn't say dead was too far. But in mid May, there was no apologies. And the message said, KILL yourself now, bitch. The following week, Peter got word from Verizon about those IP addresses that the bully's number had connected to over Easter weekend from Ann Arbor and Detroit. Peter opened the trove. Hundreds of phone numbers had connected to those addresses over the next 2 days. He dug in, searching for all the numbers that had from people related to the case, including the parents. One number and only one appeared. 2 months later, in August, Sheriff Maines turned into the gravel driveway of a beige ranch home. It was Sean's mother's place. As the sheriff drove up, Kendra was hauling out the trash. Maine and the detective stepped out their car. They were there to seize Kendra's devices. And on the documentary, they have all of this on body cam, so you can see the actual footage of when they showed up at the house with the warrant. What happened next is memorialized in the flat procedural voice of the sheriff investigative log. Maine denied request for an interview. The sheriff handed Kendra a search warrant saying she was being investigated as the cyberbully. When she denied it, the sheriff told her to be honest. Her number showed up each time a text was sent. Was she infatuated with Owen? Kendra said no, nothing like that. The sheriff demanded that she explain. Finally, something shifted in Kendra. Very uncomfortable, the sheriff wrote. Claimed that the initial text did not come from her, but she said she fed off of it and began to send them. She said that a group of kids really was trying to come between Ashley and Owen. But why, Maine asked, did it continue? Stress and financial issues, Kendra said. Ashley was there too, and after the sheriff told her what they had found, she dialed her father. A co-worker at the auto shop remembers Sean red-faced and in shock, stammering, "I think it's Kendra." He raced home in a loaner car. The sheriff intercepted him outside, and Sean told him that his wife owned a third phone and had been evasive when he asked about it. That device, a gold iPhone, was nestled in a stack of wood outside. Kendra had stashed it there when the sheriff drove up. Baby, let me tell y'all something. If you have not watched that documentary, let me tell you something. The realest shit I seen in a long time was when her husband got there and they told her husband what was going on. Baby, the realest shit that I've ever seen, well, not ever seen. Baby, her husband told them police, she got to go. And I need you to make sure that she gone before y'all leave, because it's probably not going to end well. We're going to probably both end up in jail if y'all leave and we just here by ourselves. He said, it's not going to end well. He said, it's not going to end well. He said, and then he ended up calling his parents. He was like, they on their way. You need to pack a bag because you can't stay here. He said, you can't stay here tonight. And he told the police, he said, y'all need to go on and stay here till somebody else get here. Because this ain't going to end well. This ain't going to end well. He was dead ass. I was like, and you could see it. He meant that thing. He meant that thing. Yeah, he did it in front of the police. Child, listen. Y'all, listen. We ain't going to pretend like these ain't white people, okay? These ain't white people, okay? Hold on, let me scroll up. That day, the sheriff delivered a second blow. Kendra, the family's breadwinner, hadn't worked in a year. There's a lot about the family's finances that Kendra had hidden. Her job change in 2019 when Ashley was in the 6th grade was, in fact, the result of Central Michigan firing her for her performance. The new job at Ferris State had not come with a big wage bump, as she claimed, and collectors were filing suit in court for unpaid utility and insurance bills. Later that fall, when Owen asked Ashley out and the first text arrived, the Lacaris' one-story house was foreclosed on. Kendra told her family she had sold it. The Lacaris' moved into the log cabin after entering into a land contract, a way to buy a house, often for those with bad credit, in which buyers pay installments directly to the owner. By the spring of 2021, Ashley's 8th grade year, Kendra's managers at Ferris State had put her on a performance improvement plan, citing excessive time on non-working texting and calls. She told them she was overwhelmed and stressed out from COVID and sports. The August of Ashley's freshman year, falling short on her performance plan, Kendra quit. Throughout that school year, as the text rained in at all hours, Kendra maintained she was working from home, feigning work calls when Sean was around. According to a family member, whenever she would ask Kendra about anything financial, she would change the subject to the cyberbullying. During Ashley's freshman fall, after a series of excuses from Kendra about PayPal and cashier check hiccups, the cabin's owners started the eviction process. In April of 2022, just before the FBI-affiliated task force got involved in the case, the court received a request from the Lacarses to delay getting evicted from their cabin. They were weathering unemployment, the letter said. We do not have any other place to go and are completely terrified of being homeless with our daughter. The court evicted them that month. Kendra told her family that the house's foundation had cracked and they had to move out while it was lifted up for repairs. Baby, that's the mama right there. If y'all didn't see the documentary, that's the mama. That's her mugshot, child. That's the mama. The father also said on the documentary that they had when they did get the eviction, they put all that the landlord was nice enough to let them come and get their stuff out the house. And they put all that stuff into a storage unit. And he said Kendra didn't even keep up the payments on the storage unit and they lost everything. He said they lost everything that was in the storage unit. Now, I'm going to be honest. Now, Sean, maybe you was in them special classes in high school, but at that point, why are you still letting her be in charge of the finances? I mean, why are you still letting her be in charge of the finances? I'm just asking. But anyway, I guess we getting to the end, y'all. We almost there, honey. We almost there. News of Kendra's confession ripped through Bill. After Owen's football practice, Jill and Dave called both children to the front porch. Owen remained quiet, staring out at the yard in shock and anger. I didn't show a lot of emotion, he says, but on the inside, it was definitely super loud. A lot of emotion, he says. Paige, getting the call from her boyfriend's mother, broke down in an auto lot where she was getting her first car for college, feeling used. Chloe put her parents on speaker while standing in a friend's kitchen. The girl screamed in relief. After Kendra was arrested in December 2022, a student saw Ashley loading stuff from her locker into her book bag. She finished sophomore year in an online school alone behind a screen. The following spring, Kendra pled guilty to 2 counts of cyber stalking. At her sentencing, Kendra read from a typed page, her voice racked with sobs. I'm sorry for my behavior to Owen McKinney and his family. I'm sorry for my behavior to Chloe Wilson and her family. I'm sorry to my daughter Ashley and my husband Sean. Kendra continued explaining that she had now learned through months of counseling that she had a mental illness. She mentioned depression, anxiety, and suppressed childhood trauma, including sexual abuse. She was aware that I was in crisis for many years. The judge sentenced her to 19 months in prison. Even now, Chloe says, all I want to know is why she did that. Owen remains puzzled too. Was the bullying an attempt to draw him and Ashley closer together, or what actually happened to drive them apart? It's just super confusing, he says. To Principal Boyer, her likely motive was keeping her kid close to her, eliminating threatening relationships. Significant in his mind, the text started when Ashley hit 7th grade and when girls start pulling away from their parents. According to one of her attorneys, Kendra insisted that she didn't send the first text, but saw how they made others rally around her family. So she continued. She said, then it just got out of hand. The picture pieced together from different accounts support this notion. No matter how the texting began, at some point the light switched on that an anonymous bully will offer Ashley and Owen a common enemy, bring attention to her quiet daughter, make Kendra even more of a super mom, maintain her social alliances, distract her from mounting financial problems, and occupy empty hours. It was a blessing that I was caught, she said at her sentencing, because it forced me to stop. Girl. When the superintendent broke the news to Boyer, Boyer observed, "It's like cyber Munchausen." Boyer didn't know it at the time, but the phenomenon is one psychiatrists have been tracking for decades. In the 90s, Dr. Mark Feldman, then an associate professor of psychiatry at the University of Alabama at Birmingham, who specializes in Munchausen syndrome, was told about a man claiming to be a Catholic monk in an online support. That's not. Why do things crack me up? How you pretending to be a monk in an online support group? Not even a real, just an online. I mean, online support groups are real, but I mean in person. An online support group. The man posted about his fast progressing cancer and how, given his vile poverty, he couldn't seek any treatment. At first, people in the group offered sympathy, but over time, some grew suspicious. When someone finally challenged him, the man admitted it was a hoax. He wasn't a monk and he never had cancer. I was about to say, first of all, that's not even true. I grew up Catholic. Just because they take a vow of poverty, the Catholic Church will pay for. I've known of nuns and priests who've gotten cancer. They can get treatment. Feldman saw the monk as a twist on his clinical specialty. Munchausen is a mental health disorder in which patients feign or purposely induce medical problems. The motive is partially to gratify an emotional need to marshal the support and attention reserved for the ill. The behavior often feeds on itself, becoming addictive or compulsive, according to patients. People who struggle to define themselves tap into an instant identity. Patient, victim, hero. In 2000, Feldman wrote a paper on the disorder calling it Munchausen by internet, and has watched its manifestation track the advance of tech, from the early online forums to those feigning diseases on GoFundMe's or TikTok. Munchausen experts think the digital variety will likely become the most common sort. Ruses are easier with the disembodied internet. No one needs to get physically hurt. In 2017, Feldman joined colleagues to study the phenomenon among undergrads. About 2% of the responding college students admitted to bullying themselves under an alias, and another 2% reported faking an identity to bully a friend online, and then as themselves heroically coming to the friend's defense. Feldman helped revise the most recent diagnosis and statistical manual of mental disorders to acknowledge that the condition can play out partially or entirely online. Deep in 2017 study, which was never published, the Alabama researchers predicted where the trend would lead. Parents cyberbullying their own children in the same way that some parents feign illnesses in their children to satisfy their own psychological needs. Remember, that's what they said about what that girl, Gypsy. The Gypsy girl that ended up unaliving her mother. Remember, that's what her mother was doing to her. As Ashley returned to Bill City for junior year, Owen avoided her. He even felt angry toward her. So many in town asked, how could she not have known? Chloe and her parents thought Ashley must have known. Why had she always been texting her mother in class? Natalie Antcliffe, who got back in touch with Ashley once she returned to town, says yes. Ashley has started to consider that her mother could be the bully, not only in the last month before the show, but only in the last month before the sheriff showed up. After many interview requests, Kendra wrote me from prison. She thanked me for seeking her side of the story and said she'd be ready to talk after her release, then never replied again. In her email, she said, I do ask that you truly think about the kids, minor kids, that are involved in this situation, including my daughter, who is trying to move forward and has a bright future ahead of her. These stories are doing additional harm to her. I can handle the pain, but she cannot. Girl, bye. Not I can handle the pain, but she cannot, and you the one that caused her this pain. Girl, bye. This May, Ashley, Owen, and Chloe will graduate from Beale City. Chloe Wilson signed a college volleyball deal in the school's trophy-lined foyer. Owen, senior homecoming king, made a soaring catch at the end zone for a touchdown during the state football final, which he memorialized on Instagram. His younger sister, Macy, still sits with Ashley at lunch with a tacit agreement to never mention the cyberbullying. It would have made a nice ending, but this is age of the true crime content machine. While Kendra was still in prison, Lifetime released a movie loosely based on what happened in Bill entitled Mommy Me. Lifetime be coming up with some hellified names. God darn. Mommy Meanest. It stars Lisa Rinna and a Machiavellian brunette mother harassing her daughter, and last year a crew from Campfire Studios, a glossy Los Angeles-based production company, came to Central Michigan to film. Everyone was like, "Oh, you're talking to them? Are you talking to them?" Word around town is that nearly the full cast of the saga sat for interviews, including Kendra, Ashley, and Sean. The Beale City School Board wouldn't let Campfire film on site, so the crew and many sources trekked to a city hall in the nearby town for B-roll. Boyer and the superintendent stood in the sidewalk and chatted like, "We talked this through." The documentary is expected to premiere this year on Netflix. Campfire Studios declined to comment, and Netflix did not respond to a request. At the Wilsons' last Halloween party, Tammy dressed as a scarecrow in a prison jumpsuit. Tammy dressed in a scarecrow in a prison jumpsuit with a mask of Kendra's mugshot and phones clutched in a gnarled hand. I'm sorry, you gotta admit that's a good ass. You gotta admit that's a good ass Halloween costume. That's a good ass Halloween costume. And I'm sure it's not funny to the kids, but I'd have laughed. At one point, she pondered gathering friends and Bill for a big watch party for the documentary. Then she changed her mind. Maybe it would be too emotional to relive this whole thing again. Maybe best, she said, to just watch it as a family. Child, that was the article. If y'all want the link to it, I'll put the link in the chat. But baby, that was the article. Child. So the documentary, I guess because this article was written in January, maybe some things had not happened yet. Because I still don't. Some things I still don't understand. Although I do have a little more context into Sean now, because it sounds like Sean wasn't the popular kid. Sounds like Sean had a good old blue collar job, and maybe in school he wasn't, I mean, maybe he was sitting in special classes. Let me just go through my notes because I do still have some questions. Where are my notes? Here go my notes. Thank you, J Love. That thing cracked me up. I'm sorry. I'm gonna say this. I'm not gonna go through all my notes because again, my notes go through a lot of what the article covered. I'm gonna just go straight to the end. So at the end, which the article didn't really get into this because this was written before the mom got out of jail. So if this article was written in January, the mom must have gotten out of jail recently. I'm gonna say, when I say recently, I mean I guess within the last 8 to 9 months, I guess. So mama is out of jail now. Now legally, she is not allowed to have any contact with her daughter, and the daughter lives with the dad, but the daughter wants to have contact with her mother. The daughter has basically forgiven her mom. She says she loves her mom and she wants to be with her mom, and she loves her mom. I understand she's still a minor, so maybe they didn't want to push her too hard, and I get that. But I needed some more questions. And I'm gonna say this, as I was listening to it, because I had never heard, I knew Munchausen, but I had never heard of the term cyber Munchausen. And I said, you know what? And I did write that in my notes. I'm glad it was in the article. I said, that is a perfect term for this, because that's exactly what that mother did to that girl. And when we hear about other Munchausen stories, like I said, Gypsy Rose, she was Ravine, that's where I'm going next. She was, her mom had the world thinking she had cancer. Remember, her mother had her teeth pulled out and all kinds of stuff to make it look like she was sick and all these other things, right? And the fact that the daughter still wants a relationship with the mom tells me that this daughter is still dealing with, like y'all are saying in the chat, Stockholm syndrome. But I'm wondering, has she had to go through counseling? Like, is she in court? I feel like there should have been some court mandated counseling for her. I don't know if the father for a variety of reasons. I don't know if the father would insist that she get counseling, because I feel like with her not being around her mom, um, has she been in some serious, intense counseling? A good counselor might have been able to break that by now. I also feel like the mother shouldn't have been able to contact the daughter while she was in jail. Because the documentary showed her mother's emails, and the mother is doing the same thing to her through email. She's love bombing her through the email. I love you so much. I love you, love you, love you, love you, love you, love you. You are the most beautiful girl in the world. You are so gorgeous. You are so perfect. I love, 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 love. Like these are the things that her mother is emailing her. I don't think her mother should be able to email her. First of all, see, this is where I get silly, y'all. First of all, when I was watching the documentary, I was like, why is her mother allowed around electronics? I don't feel like she should be allowed around electronics. Why did she get to get on the computer? That's number one. Number two, why is she allowed to email her daughter? Her daughter is the victim. And I understand that it's her daughter, but she is still the victim. I don't think she should have been allowed. I don't think that she should have been allowed to contact her until she was over 18. As long as she was a minor, she should not have been allowed to contact her. That's my opinion. Yeah, Sean divorced her. Now I'm gonna say this, and I'm dead ass about this one. When I was watching the documentary and the mother started trying to give all these examples, I mean, all these reasons why she did the things she did, bitch, cry me a river. I didn't, first of all, I don't believe nothing that come out your mouth at this point. Anybody that can do what this woman did, first of all, if you have not watched the documentary, I knew the mother was the one that did it before I watched it. And I still was sitting there like, because, baby, the way that lady was sitting there acting like it wasn't her, please go and watch that documentary. She is sitting there laughing and giggling and talking about it as if she was innocent, like she didn't know who did it. And I knew it was her. Like, it would have been worse had I not known it was her, but it had been spoiled for me, so I knew it was her. And halfway through, let me tell y'all how good this lady was. Halfway through the documentary, I said, maybe I got it wrong. Maybe it's not the mama. I was like, maybe I misunderstood, because I saw like a TikTok, right? And I didn't know. I started watching the TikTok before I knew what the TikTok was about. And I was like, maybe I got this wrong. Maybe it's not her. And I kept watching it like, maybe it's I was like, maybe it's Chloe's mother. Maybe it's one of the other mothers. You know what I mean? I was like, maybe it's a mother. It's just not this mother. Because I was like, the way she is acting, like, I mean, she's sitting there laughing about shit, and even when it got to, because I'm gonna tell you where the road of no return for me was when she told her daughter to kill herself. Ain't no coming back from that for me. And that's why I know that girl needs some therapy, because there shouldn't be no coming back from that for you either. Owen said he was suicidal. He said there was a point in time where he absolutely was suicidal. Ain't no way in hell we can't come back from that. Remember how we had those conversations about family and about toxic family and how it's okay to disengage from toxic family members? See, this is a prime example. This might be an extreme example, but this is a prime example of why I say it is okay to disengage from people who are toxic, even if they are your family. There's no reason in the world why this girl should ever speak to her mother again. I don't give a fuck that woman gave birth to her, especially since she clearly hasn't gotten any help, because the way she was sitting there being interviewed, like bitch, what? I'm sorry, what? And Sean I'm not mad at Sean. And I'm going to tell you why I'm not mad at Sean. I think Sean just trying to struggle to keep it above water. I think that I don't think that Sean thought she was the stalker, but I do believe that Sean knew she was lying about the finances. I do. I think that Sean knew her ass was full of shit when it came to the finances. Because I just don't know how you hide that kind of shit. You see what I'm saying? You getting evicted from houses, you getting cars repossessed, and you just, and every time somebody hacked your account, he knew. Sean knew. Sean knew, in my opinion. Did you see that? Okay, see, Golden, you saw that table in the back with all them damn liquor bottles on it? I said, the police should be taking somebody out of there just because of that damn table. Did y'all see that table in the back? See, I should have took some pictures. Did y'all see that table in the background when the police, you saw the body cam? It was a table and it was just full of bottles. And I mean, from the distance, I couldn't tell. They could have been soda bottles. You know, they could have been old-fashioned soda bottles. I don't know. But they look like liquor and wine. They look like liquor. Just a whole kitchen table, a dining room table, just full of bottles. But then they said that those were the parents' house. So who in that house is a drunk? Yeah, I do have a lot of questions now. On the documentary, I didn't understand why Owen was so angry with the girl, but in the article it explains that Owen is pissed off because Owen doesn't believe that she didn't know. Chloe says the same thing. Now, Chloe's parents, let me tell y'all something. If y'all watch that documentary, baby, Chloe's parents, they are not here for that bullshit. And Chloe's parents, I'm gonna be honest with you. They better be lucky nothing happened to Chloe. And I don't mean physically. I do not mean physically. I mean, they better be lucky that Chloe was able to maintain her grades. They better be lucky that Chloe walked away with a college scholarship for volleyball. They better be lucky. And I'm going to tell you why. Because Chloe's parents, I could see them suing the school district. Because Chloe daddy said, I told him it was her. And Chloe's daddy don't have no love for Michael, the first investigator. You could tell that Chloe daddy think he ain't shit. And Chloe mama don't think he's shit either. And they were very clear about how they felt about all of these people. Let's be clear. Now, with that being said, can I say it? Can I say it? With that being said, I understand why the people thought it could have been Chloe. Even Owen said Chloe is not a nice girl. Chloe said, the other girls even said that Chloe and her friends are like mean girls. Didn't they say it? They said that they understand why somebody would think it was Chloe. And now that I done met Chloe's parents, I understand too. And I bet you Chloe daddy, who's a whole po-po, I believe Chloe daddy is a good old boy that wears his badge on his hip, if you understand what I'm saying. Okay? I believe Chloe's daddy is a good old boy who wears his badge on his hip. I believe Chloe's mama is the lady at the game that'll cuss your kid out. Okay? That's what I believe. Because y'all know I listen to stuff with my teacher ear. I listen to things with my teacher ear. So when they first started saying how Chloe had a reputation, and even Owen, her friend, said, Chloe's not a nice girl. Chloe is not a nice person. When Owen said that Chloe's not a nice person, I said, that's saying a lot. Especially knowing how this whole thing ends, where everybody thought it was Chloe, come to find out it really wasn't Chloe. I said, the fact that he wasn't even trying to defend her, even knowing that Chloe didn't do it. I was like, oh. Now, when I put my my educator ears on, my administrator ears on, when the daddy said, when she was in middle school, we started getting phone calls saying that the different incidents would happen and they were always blaming Chloe. I said, Chloe ass is a bully. I knew then. See, when them parents be acting like they don't know their kids, talking about something, all of a sudden stuff just started getting blamed on Chloe. He wasn't talking about the bullying stuff. He's talking about stuff before that, which again is the reason why people thought it could have been Chloe, because Chloe was a terror at that damn school. But see, because it is a small town and because it is a small school, they was probably scared to say too much to Chloe, because all Chloe was going to do was call her daddy. And her daddy is the po-po. And her daddy was going to come down to that school and cuss everybody out in his uniform. I'm telling you what I know. When her parents said she sent all of the middle school in the principal's office before the text even started. When the principal said she sent all of middle school in the principal's office before the text even started, everybody knew how it ends, and they didn't say one nice thing about her. Right, Casey, exactly. They knew how it ended, and they still didn't have no nice words for Chloe. None of them said. The only person that said something nice about Chloe was that one little friend. That one little friend. They said Chloe lied and said we threw carrots at her at the lunchroom. Y'all threw them damn carrots. Y'all know y'all threw them. That's why, listen, that's another reason why I wasn't buying Kendra's bullshit at the end. Because that shit was very calculated what you did. It was layers to it, and it was very calculated. You went out of your way to frame Chloe. You started mimicking how she talked, how she texted. You set that software up to frame her. In the article, they said it was a snowmobile. And I think they changed the event for the purposes of that article. But in the documentary, they said they were on spring break in Florida, and all of a sudden, the area code that the numbers were from changed to Florida the minute Chloe and her family left for spring break. Like almost immediately, her mama said, almost as soon as we crossed the state line into Florida, the text messages, the area code changed. Right, and the basketball score. You were purposely trying to frame Chloe. And the reason why you were trying to frame Chloe is because you thought people would believe it, because Chloe ass allegedly is a bully. I say allegedly because I don't want her daddy coming to get me, okay? Look, J Love, you said your teacher radar went out to, you know what it was. You know what it was. As soon as they said, they all of a sudden started blaming stuff on Chloe. They didn't all of a sudden start blaming stuff on Chloe. Chloe ass is a bully. Chloe's a mean girl. Chloe got her little clique of friends, and they probably were bullying Ashley. And this the part I was going to tell you that my unpopular opinion, and I know ain't none of y'all going to agree with me. I know ain't none of y'all going to agree with what I'm getting ready to say. I know none of y'all are going to believe me or agree with what I'm getting ready to say. Y'all with me? Y'all ready for this? I only believe one thing that came out of Kendra's mouth. I only believe one thing that came out of Kendra's mouth. I do think that first text message came from Chloe. The first text message about the Halloween party, I do think that one came from Chloe. And I'm going to tell you why. As a true crime buff that I am, usually people don't go dormant like that unless there's a reason for them to go dormant. I think that Chloe and her friends did send that first text message to fuck with the little girl. Her and Owen were dating. Her and Owen were they said remember they said they couldn't go back to the beginning. Remember when maybe I read the article wrong, but I thought they said that that they couldn't go back that far to those first messages. Maybe I read it wrong, cheap 83. Hold on, let me go back and read it again because I might have read that part wrong. But I thought they said that they had upgraded their Wi-Fi and they couldn't go back that far. But let me finish my point and then I'm gonna go back and see if I misread it. But let me tell you why. Because I do think that somebody else sent that first message to put that idea in her mama head to begin with. And I think that the reason why there was almost a year in between those messages is because I do think that it was sent that one time because Ashley wasn't invited to the Halloween party. They were taunting her. It was her party. It was Chloe's Halloween party. They were taunting her. And then it was kind of like her mother, when her mother came back and said, oh, she can come to the party. Of course she's invited. But by that time, the little girl was like, I don't want to come to your funky ass party. If I wasn't invited, oh, well, I wasn't invited. And everybody went on about their business. But I think when the mama saw the attention, like she said, she saw the attention that it got them and how everybody rallied around them. I also think that the mama had a little bit of a crush on Owen. I think the mama's attention to Owen was not right. I think the mama. Well, that's why Owen is mad at Ashley too. Because he thought the mama knew. Now, I thought that Owen was mad at Ashley because Ashley's not mad at her mother. Because I would think that, I'm sure that Owen and Chloe and everybody else wants Ashley to be angry with her mom and she isn't. But let me go back. Cheap 88, I could be wrong. I thought that's what I read in the article. And when I watched the documentary, that's what I thought. Because generally speaking, when you see stuff like that, it's usually, when there's a long dormant time like that, it's usually either a copycat or there's a reason why. Like I could see if they said, well, Kendra went away for work or something. But the second round of text messages coincided when the mama didn't have no damn job, when she wasn't working, she had time. But some of those text messages that her mother, first of all, the text message that she sent her daughter to unalive herself, to me is a point of no return. But then some of those other nastier, like the article didn't get into that, but in the documentary, like for example, excuse my language, I don't want to offend those of you who have delicate sensibilities, but like some of the messages that the mother was sending her daughter, her 14-year-old daughter, said stuff like, Owen's gonna break up with you because you won't sleep with him, and you don't have a good head game. You don't know how to give him head like I can, and he likes to put his fingers in my pussy, and you won't let him put. It was like very explicit about giving blowjobs and where his fingers go and licking her fingers and just nasty. And I was like, this what you texting your 14-year-old child? Your 14-year-old, I mean, it wouldn't be an excuse if she was 18, but at least at 18, I'm like, well, she grown. For your 14-year-old child, you're texting her that her boyfriend is going to break up with her because she won't give him a blowjob? Bitch, that's why her ass don't need to have no contact with that girl. And I don't understand the judge allowing the mother to email her from jail. And Sean, I said I wasn't mad at Sean. Yes, I am. Sean, and I don't know, because Sean might have. So let me say this. Sean might have, but if Sean did not, Sean, I don't understand why you didn't petition that judge to say, absolutely not, or take her to family court or something. I mean, I can't think of a judge in their right mind that would allow her access to that child. After this, baby, when they show on that documentary, and I'm not exaggerating, baby, they had a notebook this thick of the text messages that they had printed out. It was this thick, y'all. It was thousands. They said at the height, they was getting 50 text messages a day. I don't think I sent 50 text messages in a week. And that's all of my text conversations, text threads, group chats. That's not to one person. I don't think when I was in a relationship was booed up with somebody, I was sending 50 text messages a day. Are you fucking crazy? I can believe that she only got 1 year for a variety of reasons. First of all, I think people think that these crimes hold heavier sentences than they do, right? Um, a lot of these crimes like cyber, because she was convicted of cyber stalking. She wasn't convicted. I believe she was convicted of cyber stalking and something else. She wasn't convicted of any. I mean, and I know to some people might say, well, cyber stalking is serious, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. I don't even know if it's a felony. Um, I think had it led to something worse, that might have been a different. Like had somebody have physically been hurt, I think maybe if the sentence would have been heavier. You know what I'm saying? Like had Owen tried to physically harm Ashley, or Ashley had tried to harm Owen, or they harmed themselves, I think maybe it could have been escalated. But the fact that it sort of just ended the way it ended, I think that had something to do with it. I also think the fact that she's the mother, even though people are disgusted that she's the mother, I think that we still are talking about like a small town where everybody knows everybody. Like the court, like the judge in that court probably knows those people. You know what I mean? And I think that maybe she probably didn't. I don't know what the maximum was, but I doubt the maximum was more than what she got. I mean, 19 months. I don't think that was the maximum, but I don't think that the maximum was more than that. Somebody said that her crime, that is that the crime, she's ahead of her. Yeah. I mean, think about it. 5 years ago, I don't even know if cyber stalking gets you more than a fine and a little pat on the hand. The fact that I was shocked that she actually went to jail, if I'm being honest. I was shocked that she didn't get like probation or something. The fact that she actually served jail time, I was impressed. Yeah, Sean was like, you gotta go, because if you don't go, one of us ain't gonna end well. She comes from money. Maybe she got a good lawyer. Maybe that, and Danielle, that is that might be part of it too. Yeah, I know we can't underestimate a good lawyer. You can't underestimate a good lawyer. Why you had to bring Kern into this, Chuck? This don't have shit to do with Kern. See how y'all do? See, this ain't got nothing to do with Kern. See what I'm talking about? Did Pam represent her? I texted Pam earlier today too. I haven't talked to her in a couple of days. I gotta talk to her. I'm gonna try to call her tomorrow. I don't think she texted me back. She hasn't been live in a couple of days too. She might have a lot going on. Usually when Pam go like that, she got work on top, piled on top of her like that, honey. Somebody said, no, ma'am, she was poor. I think she was poor, but I don't know if her family was poor. Because remember, they said that she grew up in an affluent neighborhood. So I don't know if her family is poor. She poor, but I don't know if her family is. But I haven't looked up her family, so I don't know. But they said at the beginning of the article, remember, I had to look up the word. You might not have been here. I had to look up the word, child, because I said I ain't never heard of the exurbs before, but the exurbs is like outside of the suburbs and it's more affluent. As a teacher, do I think the school did enough? That's a good question. I think the school did a lot. To be honest, and y'all might not want to hear it. Y'all ain't gonna like what I'm getting ready to say. The school actually did more than a lot of schools would have done. That's why when the parents were like, we don't think the school did enough. After I heard what the principal did, like the principal was literally running a sting operation. The principal was like, first of all, we got to remember the school. The school it's K through 12th grade. And they said that no class is larger than 50 kids for the whole grade level. So he probably don't have but so much help. It's probably him as the principal, and he might have like a middle school assistant principal and like an elementary school assistant principal, right? So that's number one. Number two, this man was running a whole sting operation. Like, he was literally like, you text me when you get a text message, telling Ashley, you text me when you get a text message. And then when you tell me you got a text message, he was literally looking on the cameras in the school to see who was on their phone and then calling them into the office to see what they were doing on their phone at 10:55 in hallway A. They would send in the teachers emails or calling the teacher saying, who's on the phone in your room right now? Because we just got a call that Ashley just got a text message. I think the school did a lot, to be honest. Because I'm gonna be honest and tell you, if something like that were happening at our school, I'm gonna tell you now, they ain't doing all that. They would tell the parent, you need to go file a police report and let the police do an investigation. Ain't nobody who got time to do. There's no principal that has that kind of time to literally look on the cameras just because somebody got a text message. Are you crazy? And then I definitely understand why the parents were reluctant to have the kids give up their phone, because as the article stated, there was a school, that the school where they had that school shooting where that little boy whose parents ended up getting arrested, the little boy that shot up and he unalived 4 people. And that happened at a school that was in the state of Michigan that wasn't too far from where they lived. I could definitely understand why the parents were like, yeah, nah, we're not willing for the cell phone policy to be changed because of this situation. You know, so I understand. I don't know what more the parents wanted them to do. And I did agree with Chloe's dad on this one. Now, this one I was with Sergeant Slaughter, okay? On this one I was with Sergeant Slaughter. The way they pulled them kids into the principal's office with that police officer questioning them without the parents being there, yeah. If I were a parent, I'd have had an issue with that too. When the way they called Chloe in the office and all of Chloe's friends, without letting the parents know, questioning them about something like that. Yeah. I think they did a lot. Yeah, and I know that Texas is one of the places that changed their cell phone policy, and they're actually trying to enforce it. I know Georgia, there's some counties up here. I know DC changed their policy. So I know that there are schools, and I told y'all I support it. I know that parents don't agree with me, and that's fine. But as an educator, I support the kids not having their phones in class. Sorry, not sorry. And I understand parents' concern for their child's safety. I get it. I understand. Trust me, I do. But from a do you want me to educate your kids standpoint, I get it. My thing is, I don't have a problem with the principal was questioning those kids. I have a problem when you bring the police in and you suspect my child. See, it's different. So let me say this, and I'm speaking, I understand where parents are coming from 100%, but I'm just saying from where I'm sitting. If Chloe were being questioned because, let's say, they thought she was in the same area as where it was happening and they called her in for questioning, that's one thing. But you let a police officer come into the school and question a child as a suspect. Because even when you hear the way he's talking to her, he's telling her, well, I mean, if it just started off as just fun and it got out of hand, I mean, you could just go ahead and tell us. And Chloe was like, what you talking about? I didn't do anything. I would have a problem if my child came home and said the police, because you know how the kids are going to tell the story. The kids are going to tell the story and say the police accused me of da 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 da. I would have a problem with that. Now, if it were the principal calling my child in the office and say, look, the kids said that, you sending them messages. The principal, I wouldn't take it, but the police coming into the school, yeah, I'd have a problem with that. Yeah, I definitely would have a problem with that if it was the yeah. So I did have a problem with that. I was with Sergeant Slaughter on that one. I was with him on that one. I had a problem with that. I definitely had a problem with that. And especially the way he was questioning Chloe on that video. Because again, you weren't questioning Chloe as if, well, look, we think you might have been in the room when it happened. Do you think you know who it is? It was clear that he thought it was her. It was clear that he was without coming right out saying, Chloe, we know it's you. It was clear that he thought it was her. Why we're only cell phones? How are your students adjusting to your cell phone policy in your class? Oh, you know what? I need to post a picture. It's okay. It's far from perfect, but it's better. I mean, granted, we're only a few weeks in, but I do notice that some of the kids are getting in the habit of coming in and putting their devices on the charger. But I mean, of course, I still have the kids that are, every 5 minutes. So we're getting there. I mean, it's learned behavior. They have to unlearn it, so they're getting there. No, nobody was reading rights. It didn't go that far, Chuck. Nobody read them their rights. No. Baby, that lady was crazy. Brown Mama said the lady said she was texting about herself. You told your daughter she was anorexic. You told your daughter to go have sex with basically you was telling your daughter to go have sex with this boy. You told your daughter, that's why I don't nobody like you, because you're skinny and anorexic. And she told that now see, if this girl grow up and get a BBL and lip injections and Botox and all those other things that these people do, then people gonna be wondering, she was such a pretty girl, why would she do that to herself? Because her mama told her that she was ugly and too skinny. That's why. Yeah, I'm about to get off here so I can take these braids out. I started taking them out. I gotta finish taking them out. Yes, I think she should be on a list too. I think she should be on a registry. And I do not think, now that's the one thing I have a problem with. I have a problem with the fact that she has access to her child. I don't think that while she was in jail, I don't think she should have been allowed to talk to her child. I think the only way she should have been able to have access with her child is if it was through court mandated therapy. I do not think she should have been able to email her. And like now that she's out of jail, she's not allowed visitation. But I'm sure they're talking. You could see the little girl and hear the little girl talk. That she's talking to her mama. She's talking to her mama. But see, Sean, you should have put that baby in therapy. And I don't know it to be a fact that she's not in therapy, but I don't believe she is. I don't believe she went through any therapy. I think they pulled her out of school. She went to online school until everything blew over, and then they put her right back in school with them same kids, those same teachers. And just like some of those, like Chloe and them think, there's no way you didn't know that your mother was involved. I'm sure there are teachers who feel that way, the cafeteria staff, the custodian, like, come on, y'all. That's how people think. And so she's back in school. But who knows what she's dealing with on a day-to-day basis. Hell, she might be getting bullied all over again. And her behavior isn't making people believe she didn't know. The fact that you still want a relationship with your mom, the fact that you still communicate with your mom while she was in jail, because that's the other reason why I don't understand why she was allowed. If she's not allowed to have communication with her mama now that she's out of jail, why the fuck would she be allowed to have communication with her mama while she's in jail? That don't even make no sense to me. Why would you be allowed to have communication with your victim while you're in jail? But then when you're out of jail, oh no, she's not allowed to see her daughter. But she could email her the whole time she was locked up. That don't make no damn sense. Like, huh? Anyway, let me get off here, y'all, so I can get these damn braids out. My hair appointment is early, honey. It's early in the morning. But I just wanted to come through here. I watched it the other night, and a couple of y'all asked me to review it. Tracy asked me, a few other people, and like I said, I wanted to see it, and then it was spoiled who the person was, and I was like, damn, I don't know if I want to sit through this whole thing, and I already know it's the mama. But then when I looked and I saw it was only like an hour and a half documentary instead of, y'all know how Netflix turns shit into a 10-part, movie event. Like they turn a documentary into like a 5-part series. I was like, I don't feel like sitting through all of this. But when I saw it was only an hour and a half, I was like, okay, for an hour and a half, I can go ahead and watch it. You know what I'm saying? I think Lauren has disassociated the texter from her mother. It probably helps her. And that's why she needs therapy. I agree. Because she wants, listen, the mom did a good job of turning her into her savior. And now I think, I don't know if Lauren knows how to function without her mother. Her mother did a good job of making her think that, I said Lauren. Oh, you said Lauren. Lauren, that's her real name. Ashley's her name in the article. I think Lauren has convinced herself that she does need her mother. That nobody understands her, nobody likes her, nobody will, you know what I mean? I think that her mother was successful in doing that. I bet they monitored the communications like Ernesto's calls. Well, I'm sure the emails and stuff when she was in jail were monitored. But that's what I'm saying. It doesn't make sense to me. You know, I don't know. Pat was talking about the fight. I'm not really into boxing like I used to be. I'm just not into it anymore. So I don't know these people. I don't really watch boxing anymore. I've heard the names, but I don't know them. You know what I mean? I don't know these people. So probably not. I probably will not be watching the fight. I'm not sure what time we're doing Beyond the Gates tomorrow. Matter of fact, I'm gonna text JB when I get off of here. It's his week to host. I have an early hair appointment, but I should be out of there. My appointment is at 8. I should be back home by noon, 1 at the latest. So I'm gonna see if 1 o'clock is too late for him. I'm not sure if he has anything to do tomorrow. If 1 o'clock is too late for him and he has to go live earlier, then I may just do something. DB said, "Is you casually take? I can't, because I can't take it no more. You know, once I make up my mind, I'm gonna do so. I can't take it no more. But I'm running my mouth, so I was like, well, I can get a couple of braids out while I'm just sitting here talking to y'all, child. I'm just running my mouth until I get to them front braids. I'm good." But I had already started taking them out in the middle. I just didn't take them out in the back and obviously in the front. So, but I meant to take some more out earlier today and I didn't, child. But anyway, let me get off of here, y'all, so I can really get up in here. I can take, I can get down and dirty. And because that time I had braids and I cut my real hair and I fucked my hair up, I'm so nervous about cutting my actual hair. I cut so low down. I don't cut too high up because I'm so scared to cut my own hair. But these are easy to take out because these are more of a twist. It doesn't get hard until I get to like that area right there is where it gets hard. Because up until then, it's just they're just twisted. That's where it's an actual braid. So, so hopefully it won't take me too long, child. What time is it? It's 9 o'clock. Hopefully I'll have them. Hopefully I'll get them out of here. You meant the daughter's email account? No, I'm sure they monitored all of that. Like I said, ain't nobody convinced me, and nobody is going to convince me that Lauren's not talking to her mother. Oh, spray water in that area for easier takedown. Oh, I got some. Okay, I got a spray bottle right here. It's really not water. It's will this be okay? It's sea moss and aloe vera. It's conditioning spray. Can I use that? Or should I go get water? Can I use conditioning spray? Is that okay? Okay, so I can use this then. This Camille's Rose conditioning spray. All right. Well, we about to get busy. Y'all. So when y'all see me tomorrow, I'll be back to the, you know what it look like. And use a styling brush. Okay. All right, y'all. I'm going to talk to y'all tomorrow. Love y'all. Bye.